All right, Eleanor, we're going to get started. First of all, I'm Lisa Torgerson with Travelex International, and I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening and taking just a little bit of time to find out some more information about other possibilities as far as travel, and I think this is a very exciting one. So I want to turn it over to you, Eleanor, and you can do the rest and tell them your area of expertise.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Eleanor Hardy. I am President and CEO of the Society of International Railway Travelers. That's me in the picture on the right. I'm on the blue train. And we're so honored that Travelex International, a great virtuoso agency, has invited us to be on tonight. Thank you so much, Lisa. And I am going to take you on a journey of 6,500 miles by luxury train. And you're going to love it. And I want to let you know, just going forward, there's a little box at the bottom called chat. So if you have any questions that you have, if you'll please type them in and I'll answer at the end. And if we don't have time to answer all of them, we'll get back to you by email. So that's all about that. So why choose us? Lisa chose our company to partner with to do luxury rail journeys because this is our specialty. We are experienced. We are family founded, owned, and now we're in the next generation also of our agency that was founded in 1983. We're the only virtuoso agency that specializes in luxury trains. We offer first class, very personal service, and we work with advisors. We would be working with the Travelex advisors to get you booked on our trains. And the other thing I wanted to say is, we actually have traveled on all the trains we sell. And you'll see there, use the code Travelex when you book this trip for a special gift. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it is very neat. It's very unique, and our clients really love it. So that picture there is very cool. You'll see a locomotive, steam locomotive is hauling the train, and that is one of the very special trips, very special stops in the trip. It's at Lake Baikal. So that is very cool. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this trip is so cool. This heading says, why choose Golden Eagle Trans-Siberian Express? Well, there are other trains. There's a regular train. We absolutely don't recommend that. There's some other private trains out there. We don't recommend them either. We only recommend the Golden Eagle Trans-Siberian Express. That's the only one we book. And all you have to do for this trip is get yourself to Vladivostok and home from Moscow. It's very easy. Your travel advisor can do that for you. And the other thing you have to do is get a double entry visa, and we will help your advisor with that. Everything else is taken care of. You see this list here is quite a long list. But the trip includes the best available or five-star hotel at the front and the end of this trip. You have private ensuite rail accommodation on the train. You have breakfast, lunch, and dinner daily. You have a generous drinks allowance. This includes wine with lunch and dinner. You have 24/7 personal cabin attendant service, and they're very friendly and very good. Complimentary Wi-Fi. Now, this is not such a great benefit, really, because when it works, great. But it often does not work because you are going through such remote areas, just FYI. You have guided off-train excursions with English-speaking guides. There's some alternative touring. Let's say you've been to Moscow before and you want to do some different things. Well, we have some other things you can do in Moscow besides what's on the itinerary, and they're included. Welcome and farewell dinners, they're very special, luggage porterage throughout, and this is really cool, and our clients love this, and you will too. All the gratuities for every single thing are included. You don't have to worry about any of that. There's a gala caviar dinner on board, there's an English-speaking doctor on board, and as you can see on that list, 64 staff members cater up to 94 passengers. So that is all really great. And I will have to say this about this. We had a client who took this trip in August. He went from Vladivostok to Moscow, and this is what he said. It was better than our best expectations. It was so much better than an ocean cruise. So if you're a client who you cruised everywhere, or you've been everywhere, I'm betting you money you have not been in the middle of Siberia on a luxury train. And this is a really cool option. The other thing, well, let's go to the next slide. This is a map of where you would be going if you do the Golden Eagle Trans-Siberian Express journey. And I want to tell you one thing about it. We have dates available in 2020 and 21 already. If you book before early 2019, you get 2020 pricing for 2021. So that's really great. This trip goes both ways, but we're going to talk about it from Vladivostok on the far east to Moscow. And again, this trip is 6,500 miles. So if you take this trip, it's going to be something you'll never forget. There's an author by the name of Eric Newby who wrote a book called The Big Red Train Ride. And this is what he said. The Trans-Siberian is the big train ride. All the rest are peanuts. And I do believe that's true. So let's look at this map just a minute. You see, if you start in Vladivostok, most of the flights get there midday. And our trip would include you're being met with a sign with your name on it. You'd be taken to the lovely hotel. And then we would have a great reception that night and dinner. And then the next day, you would be touring Vladivostok. It's a military port, home to the Russian Naval Fleet, Pacific Fleet. There is a preserved World War II submarine you'd be able to see. And we have a lovely champagne reception at the gorgeous railway station. We really like that a lot. And as you can see, you'll be traveling all across. You make stops at anywhere on this map where there's a dot, you would be stopping. And these are all important places, and we'll be talking about them. So let's go to the next slide. This journey, we call it an epic journey. It's 15 days. It goes over 2 continents, Asia and Europe. You cross over 7 time zones. It stops once or twice daily, and there is absolutely no better way to see the vastness of Siberia. And I want to point out, the lady on the left is somebody called an old believer, and she lives in Ulan-Ude, and that's one of the stops. And then that animal in the middle, that is a Mongolian yak. And one of the days you will be going to Mongolia, which is one of my favorite stops. And the picture on the bottom right, those are the gorgeous green plains of Mongolia. And when you come in by train, you'll see lots of families. You'll see them with their horses. You'll see them training horses. You'll see their yurts. It's really a very cool visit. Now, in the top right, that is actually the Nadam Festival, and that is not part of this particular trip, but we have another trip that does pretty much the same thing, but it goes when the Nadam Festival is happening, and that's usually in July. But we do have a visit to the national park when we go to Mongolia, and we do have a chance to ride some of the little Mongolian horses. That's not such a great idea for tall people like my husband. I have a picture of him on one of those ponies. His feet are kind of almost on the ground. So anyway, let's look at the next slide. These are some of the other places you'll see. The top, that is a picture of the Ural Mountains, and the Urals run from north to south, and they provide the boundary between Europe and Asia. And one of the cool things you do here is you celebrate the crossing with champagne, and you can stand in both continents. Now, I know it sounds corny, but Owen and I really liked it. And Owen, by the way, is the CEO and founder of our company. And if you have any questions for him, he's here in the room, and you can ask them of him as well. The picture on the left is a beautiful bridge, and that's Vladivostok. Now, it is very hilly, extremely beautiful, and you're looking over the port. It's a great stop, and of course, it's the start of the trip. And the right is the Vladivostok Central Square, which you would see. Let's go to the next slide. And these are pictures from Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia. And the Buddhist monastery is up on the left. And you see the yurt and the lovely ladies dressed in their traditional costumes. And of course, another picture from the monastery. The city of Ulaanbaatar with the yurts down at the bottom. This is a lovely stop. You're just there for the day. And this is why you need a double entry visa, because when you go down in Mongolia, you'll be entering Russia again when you leave here. Let's go to the next slide.
Hey, Eleanor?
Yeah.
Eleanor,
Yes.
can you repeat the name of the city?
Yes. The name of the city is Ulaanbaatar. It's the capital. It's the capital of Mongolia. Okay, this is one of the most favorite stops on this trip. The fish that you see there is incredibly fabulous. It's fished right out of Lake Baikal, which is the deepest lake in the world. Freshwater lake, yes, excuse me. 20% of the world's fresh water is in that lake. So swim if you dare. Some of our clients have loved doing that. But one of the things we're going to do at Lake Baikal, you steam around the edge of Lake Baikal for a good part of the morning, and you stop and you have a barbecue by the lake, and you see those pictures there. It's extremely scenic, but the water is cold as the dickens. So like I say, swim if you dare. Okay, let's go to the next slide. This is a place that you may have never heard of. You probably would never go back again, but it's a beautiful place. It is Kazan, and it is the capital of Tatarstan, and the beautiful Kremlin fortress of those two pictures at the top and the stunning mosque at the bottom. It is a lovely stop, and we'll have a private concert there. So this is, the Kremlin Fortress is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and pretty fabulous. So that is one of the stops that you do for the day. Let's go to the next slide. These slides are all from Moscow. I'm sure you'll recognize the one in the middle with the onion domes. That's St. Basil's Cathedral, which you'll get to see. But you may not recognize these other places, which are also part of our tour. The big picture at the top on the left. Lisa?
Yeah, no, keep going. I'm going to make sure our phones are off.
Okay. That's a Goom department store with its beautiful facade. And on the left is Moscow State University. And then on the right is the Iberian Gate. Shall I continue, Lisa?
Let's hold on just for 30 seconds.
Okay.
I think we're okay now.
Okay, good. Okay, let's go to the next slide.
That's the gum department store? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Golden department store. Now, there are many special experiences that we have. We have musical events throughout, champagne reception on departure with a military brass band, and you will love seeing the unbelievably beautiful murals at the train station in Vladivostok. There's a private viewing of the Kremlin Armory in Moscow. We have private classical concerts and folk performances throughout the trip. There's steam haulage along the shore of Lake Baikal and footplate rides. So if you're able, it's really fun to ride out there on the footplate, and we let you do that. Of course, I already mentioned the barbecue on the shores of Lake Baikal and taking we call it a refreshing swim. Well, let me tell you, it's going to be a freezing swim. And then we have other freedom of choice tour options, including home visits, cooking, craft making, unique museum visits. And this picture of the people cooking, that's in Irkutsk. And you could do that, or you could go, part of the itinerary includes going to the Decembrist house to have a beautiful house and concert in Irkutsk. They call that the Paris of Siberia. So there are lots of options on this trip. Let's go to the next slide. You see the train is quite long, and the The outside color is blue and the trim is gold, and they have the Golden Eagle logo everywhere. And you can see that there's silver class cabins, gold class, the restaurants and the kitchen and the bar are all in the middle. And then we have imperial suites, gold class, and the generators at the end. So we can move on to the next one, and I'm going to tell you about silver class. This is the most, we can go to the next slide. Okay.
Go again, I think there's a.
All right. This is the daytime layout of silver class. And the silver class is the least expensive option. It is 60 square feet. It's, you know, it's a train, it's 60 square feet. And you can see there's a sofa that they've made it up into. And I want you to take note of the shower to the far left. You see how if you take a shower in this bathroom, you pull that shower curtain around and around your body. The rest of the bathroom stays dry, but it's a very small shower. Now, it's fine for me, and I really think it's fine for solo travelers. Most of our guests go in gold or imperial, but it definitely is more economical to travel in silver, so it's just something to think about. The bed is a little bit narrower, and 2 people cannot sleep in the lower berth, so just something to think about. Now, it does take 2 adults. As I said, it's 60 square feet. It's got remote-controlled air conditioning, a full-length wardrobe. There's plenty of places to put things. But if we're going to look at the next cabin, we're going to skip through the next pictures. You'll see what it looks like at night. You go to the there. That's what it looks like at night. And then let's go to the next one and look at it again by day. This, you know, it doesn't look that small, but in reality it is pretty small. So let's skip forward to the next slide after this. Okay, this is gold class, which is the daytime layout. This is what it looks like. It looks very similar to silver, except for it's bigger. It's 77 square feet. And one of the things that I like about it is the shower, as you can see on the far left, it has a sliding glass door for the shower. And there's lots more room to store all of your toiletries in here. Now, just an aside here, the train gives you, you know, soap, towel, shampoo, luxury toiletries, all that stuff. You don't need to bring any of that. There's a double wardrobe in gold. Complimentary bathrobe slippers. There's a personal safe, which a lot of people really like. Complimentary tea, coffee, and mineral water. And since my husband's here, I'm going to say this. We just love asking your steward to bring you coffee or tea first thing in the morning. And they usually bring it with these darling little cookies and chocolates. So you've just got to do that if you do this train. And you look out and you see all the birch forests going by. And when I was on board last, I saw fields of Siberian iris. It is surprisingly beautiful. It's not Switzerland, but it is surprisingly beautiful. So you have a 24-hour cabin attendant, and laundry is available on board. You do have to pay for it, but it's not a horrible fee. And on this one, this cabin includes all drinks in the bar from the standard bar list. We'll talk about that some more. Let's go to the next slide. So this, you can see what it looks like when it's set up for nighttime. There's a double bed below, and they made up the twin bed above. Now, no way am I suggesting that you should put 3 people in here, but if you had a larger person, you might want to have the larger person down and say the other person to climb up the ladder. These beds are so comfortable. This is a very comfortable accommodation. Let's look at the next slide. I want to make a comment about the staff. I already told you how many staff persons we had. It's really a great proportion, 64 staff members to 94 passengers. And these people are well trained, they're very friendly, and they will do anything to help you. And also there's a train manager on board who is basically a train manager who is Russian, speaks very good English. She has taken no prisoners, and people on this trip love her because she manages everything perfectly. Here's a picture of gold in the left corner, and some of the lovely crystal that they use on board. And here is the gold cabin from an angle. It's kind of hard to see, but this shows what it looks like if you were to climb up. So, and there's a little table there. They give you those slippers. The gold, I want to emphasize, has a lot more storage for your luggage. And what I like to do is get on the train, empty out my suitcase, put it in the closets, and I'm not living out of my suitcase at all. Let's go to the next slide. This is a doozy of a compartment. It's called Imperial. This is the daytime layout of Imperial. And you can see that it's made up into a sofa. It has a nice table by the window. It has a very large window. And it has a little desk there. There's also a large bathroom. There's plenty of place to put things. And this definitely sleeps two in a king-size bed. This is 120 square feet. And that little dressing table desk is very handy with all of its drawers. You can even have dinner served in here if you would like. There's a complimentary mini bar. There's, of course, tea, coffee, and mineral water available at all times. You have complimentary laundry service, but the really cool thing is the complimentary private car and driver in every city where they can manage it, because you need to have an English-speaking guide, and in some of the little teeny tiny places, they don't have enough guides, but most of the stops, you do have your own private guide. And this includes drinks both from the standard and the premium bar list in the bar lounge. So that's pretty good to know. The next category, or the next page, is going to show you what it looks like at the evening turndown. And that is a good, it shows pretty well what it would look like. It's very comfortable. Our clients are loving this. Let's look at the next slide so you can see some more pictures. Can you turn to the next slide? No, back one. There you go. Okay, this is another view of the Imperial. It's a beautiful cabin. And by the way, they just announced today they're going to have 2 more of these. So I think that brings it to 5. It's very important if you want one of these to book very early. We have sold out several of the departure Imperial suites, and they are very, very popular. Let's go to the next slide. Let's say you want to take your whole family. That would be really cool. So, I mean, it would be expensive, but it would be very cool. And you can get this. This is called the Romanov VIP carriage. And there's a suite with a double bed with a large ensuite bathroom, a silver class cabin, and also a heritage class. And they call it that because it has a bed and some other things in it, but there's no ensuite bathroom. So you would need to share with your family, whoever's in the silver class and the ensuite in the larger suite. Sorry, you're going to have to share with the heritage class people. But that might be for a child or a teenager. It worked perfectly. There's a kitchen there. There's a lounge. You would have your private lounge. And there's a private vehicle that's going to be provided for all guests of the Romanov suite. And there are private chef services if required. And this is at the end of the train formation for the ultimate in privacy. So only the Golden Eagle staff can come back there. Others are not allowed to come and wander and hang out in your suite. So you could take that over for your whole family or your neighborhood. How about that? Let's go to the next one. Okay, this is a great picture of one of the dining cars. The restaurant cars are beautiful. That sort of gold, cream and gold theme goes throughout. It's very lovely. They have very nice china. They have lovely crystal. It is a beautiful dining car. What we're trying to say here is on some departures, they're going to have tables for two. If that's really important to you to have a table for two, we might be able to get that for you. Usually the dining car is set up like this in tables for four. And actually, that's one of the reasons we recommend train travel, because if you like meeting other people, you like having a convivial good time, you will have it. You will meet new friends, and some of them for life, on this train trip. Let's look at the next slide. Okay, this is some more about the dining. You can see more about it. There are two dining cars. Each takes 54 passengers maximum. Remember, they don't have that many passengers on board, but they do have staff members who obviously need to dine. There's only a single seating for dinner, so everybody eats at once. And the other thing that our clients really like about this train is that the dress code throughout is smart casual. You never have to put on a coat and tie. And people really like that. The chef and his team were trained at the Ritz-Carlton in Moscow. All the bread and pastries are baked fresh on board. All the produce is locally sourced throughout the journey. There are 2 choices for lunch and dinner every day, and they can accommodate dining restrictions such as vegetarian or even vegan, but they cannot do dietary requirements for special religious reasons. They just don't have the kitchen for that. Now, I would say our clients love the food on board, and we do too. I want you to know that you will have most of your meals on board, which is a really great thing about this train. You will have some meals off the train. A lot of the lunches will be off the train in really nice locations. I would say all the meals are included. My experience was the food was really, really good. I would not say it's gourmet, but it's very good. And it's got very nice service. And there are some just remarkable local dishes. And one of my favorites were the dumplings made from the chef's mom's recipe. So there's some very unique things, and there's some more ordinary things on the menu. And you're not having caviar every night, but you will have it several times. So let's look at the next slide. This is the bar lounge car, and this is a great, great place to hang out. There are going to be guest lectures here, Russian language lessons. There's traditional afternoon tea served here. As you see at the back, there's a library of books and DVDs, and you've got those DVD players in your rooms, or I should say, excuse me, in your cabin. This bar does stay open quite late until the last person leaves, and there's complimentary tea and coffee. There's complimentary draft beer. They have newspapers there. And now, somebody might want me to go over this again. The drinks from the bar are included for gold on the standard bar list and imperial for the premium bar list. And those are for whiskeys and mixed drinks. So that's good to know. Now, let's go to the next slide. General information about this trip. What we tell people is avoid booking any non-refundable incidental items until the tour is confirmed. Now, one thing I will tell you, you just wait to do your air. All the trains that we work with all around the world have minimum passenger requirements. So that is just a standard thing. Gratuities are included both on and off the train. There's no tipping additional needed. Traveler health. We would like for passengers mainly to be able to walk at least a mile unaided at a normal walking pace. And if you do need wheelchair assistance, we can organize that for you. We can organize the wheelchair and a wheelchair pusher. We have done this for several clients and they were thrilled. It of course costs more, but we can do it. Travel insurance, you've got to get a minimum of medical and evacuation insurance for this. And it's a requirement for booking this train. English language tours throughout. And if you do need an interpreter for any reason, if any of your clients are Spanish speaking or another language, we can get other kind of guides we can discuss that. Smoking, all of the trains have strict no smoking in your cabins, but there is a staff car at the back of the train where you can smoke if you're desperate. Let's go to the next one. Okay, well I will just sum up about the Trans-Siberian trip. It is one of our clients' favorite trips. It is one of the most popular. It has been on our world's top 25 trains list forever because it is a spectacular sweep of travel. And one of the things that makes it so great is you do have sightseeing, but it's not so busy that it wears you out. And there are a couple of days where you're basically on the train all day with some short stops. Those are very popular. You might say, what in the heck am I going to do all day? Well, there are concerts on board, there are Russian language lessons, some people learn to sing some songs in Russian. It is very much fun, and people absolutely love it. And one of our clients who's been on about 15 of our train trips says his favorite thing to do on this trip is to sit in his compartment and read a book and watch the world go by. It is so relaxing, and I have to say that's really true. Now let's look at some of our other favorite trips. The Venice-Simplon-Orient Express, Paris to Istanbul. The Danube Express, we have a great trip across the Alps. The Golden Eagle has another wonderful trip, Crimea by steam, and that goes from St. Petersburg to Yalta. We have another trip in Vienna aboard the Danube Express, and that is another great train trip. We have a wonderful award-winning tour book. It's called IRT Society's Best Loved Railway Journeys. This features the world's top 25 trains. So we can send this to you and your advisor digitally or in hard copy, either one. And remember to use the code Travelex when you ask for that, and we will put that by your name that you saw this webinar. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, this is a fabulous trip. I'll just say it goes Paris to Istanbul. It's their signature journey. And on this, it only runs once a year. It goes Paris to Istanbul once, and then Istanbul, Paris. That's it. So there's still some space for 2020. We're taking names for 2021. And what you do on this trip is you overnight on the train one night, and you get off and stay in a fabulous hotel the next. Now, all these things are included in these bullets right there. You stop at the Pele's Castle. There are musical events throughout. You have all the meals and off-train tours are included. Gratuities and onboard wine and liquor are not included. But this room that you see right there is one of their brand new grand suites. And this is a fabulous new addition to the Venice-Simplon-Orient Express. And it has a large double bed. It has those large picture windows. It has a sitting area. It has an ensuite shower, sink, and toilet. Everything is absolutely fabulous. So if you're interested in the grand suite, please let us know, let your advisor know. Let's look at the next one. The Grand Alpine goes Budapest to Venice on the Danube Express, which is another really beautiful train. And it travels through Hungary, Austria, Switzerland, Slovenia, and Italy. And what we have on this trip are 2 nights at the Four Seasons Hotel Gresham Palace in Budapest, and then 2 nights at the end at the Hotel Daniele in Venice. And the other 6 nights are on the train. This is a beautiful, beautiful trip. Our clients who did this last loved it. And you can see all the places that you go. If you're interested in this, give your advisor a holler and let your advisor know, I want to do that trip. It goes in May 2020, and we still have a little space. Let's see the next one. This is a very unique trip. It's going in October 2020, and it is going to be hauled by steam. Now, one of the visitors today was asking about steam. We do have, as I mentioned, the steam haulage for one segment of the Trans-Siberian Express journey, but this one is going to be hauled by steam throughout. And this is going to start in St. Petersburg and end in historic Yalta. And this trip, Owen and I did this trip, and we said this was one of the best trips to after the Trans-Siberian. But what makes it unique is they only do it like every, I don't know, 5 years or so. It's very unique. As you can see, that Swallow's Nest building right there. You have lunch there. It looks over the Black Sea. I always said, why did they call it the Black Sea? I still don't know that. It is gorgeous. And there's lots of private sightseeing, champagne receptions, concert and dinner, and the Tsar's Summer Palace at Lavadia, which was the site of the Yalta Conference, is a memorable last night for us. And Stalin, Roosevelt, and Churchill met there. You also get to see Churchill's, where Churchill stayed when he was at Yalta, and it is a very interesting place. Owen and I just finished reading the biography of Churchill, and I remember he didn't like it where he stayed too much, but it is gorgeous now. So I say go on this trip if you want to see that. Catherine the Great Summer Palace in Pushkin is beautiful, of course. And then this deluxe private train, this is on the Golden Eagle. And so as I said, it's October 2020. Let's look at the next one. Oh, I'm sorry I wrote so much on here. It's way too much for you to read. But let me just stop to say, this is such a fab trip. It's going to be New Year's in Vienna. And what you're going to do if you do this trip, you would start off in Budapest, you stay there start at a hotel, and then you would do 6 nights on the train. Be 3 in a 5-star hotel, and the rest on the beautiful Danube Express. But what you do is you go from Budapest to Vienna, and you get to celebrate New Year's Eve there. You have Viennese waltz lessons. People love this. You have a special gala dinner, and that's served in the beautiful City Hall. And then you have a performance by the Wiener Hofball Orchestra. So and then of course you see the fireworks from the City Hall balcony. This is the trip my husband wants to do. I'm not sure he's going to get to do it this year, but this is really, really a remarkable journey. And we do have a little bit of space. One of the things I like about this journey is if you'd like to spend, say, Christmas with your family, but you'd like to kind of get off and do something maybe by yourselves afterwards, the date of this is perfect because the starts December 28 and is over on January 5. We also have dates for this trip the next year and 2021. But I highly recommend this. We do have some space left for this. Let's see the next slide. Oh, we're at the end. Thank you. Do you have questions? Oh, it was so fun to do. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't talk too fast for all of you. But let me see if there are any questions. Okay. Hi, Mr. Mansfield. You want to know about the drinks allowance. Okay, the drinks allowance means you have all the wine or beer for lunch and dinner that you want. Either you're in silver or gold or imperial. Lunch and dinner, you basically, got what you want. Costs, you ask about costs, and we're happy to explain. I think it would be better for you to ask for our tour book, and we'll send you complete costs of all the trips. The costs start, the lowest is silver class and going on up to imperial class. So we have it all explained in writing. It's pretty complicated. The luxury trains all over the world are quite pricey. I would say, I'm just estimating what you say is about $1,000 a day. It's about $1,000 a day per person. That gives you kind of a, sort of baseline because they've included everything. And our clients and we have found this to be a very, very good value. And this is a trip of a lifetime. So, any other, so in general, we'll cover all the costs in our tour book. So please ask us for that. and ask your advisor to ask for that, and we'll get that to you. Any other questions?
Hey, Eleanor, my guests that are here in the office have a few questions.
Okay, great.
One of the questions that's asked is about the safety.
Oh, safety. What about the safety?
Well, I mean, is it safe? You know, they've been told by somebody that is from Russia that it's not safe.
Okay, well, anybody who has questions about that needs to go look at the travel warnings for all the countries they travel to. And that website is travel.state.gov. And you should look at that. We have sent hundreds of people on this trip, and they have been very safe. I have no qualms about sending people to this trip. Now, I will say that once you look at the whole world, and you have to know that other countries are basically saying to their residents, don't go to the U.S. because it's very unsafe. So as you know, it depends on where you are, and it's a very tricky subject. So no, can I guarantee your safety if you go anywhere in the world? No, but I can tell you that we have had absolutely no problems. I have no qualms. They have very good security on this train, and also in the hotels we use, the staff is very well trained. So if somebody's saying don't go to Russia, I'm wondering if they're also saying don't come to the U.S. because it's a very tricky subject.
Okay, and then the next question is about the food served. As far as, is it seafood or what type of food would you say they serve on the train?
Oh, well, on board, at the Baikal cookout, that is fish and chicken. And there's some other barbecued meats, I believe. Yeah, they're different kind of meats. So every night there would be different kind of meat. So like they serve beef, chicken, fish. They serve the gamut. And vegetables, potatoes, salad.
Okay.
Wonderful desserts.
Okay, and then the other one is about like credit cards or money. Do they need to get the local currency, or, you know, as far as when they're visiting some of the, I know you said it's all inclusive, but as far as what do you recommend as far as the money goes?
Okay, what I recommend about the money is that you take very new small bills. I would say no bigger than what, $20, something like that, maybe $5, $10, $20. If you're the kind of person who wants to buy souvenirs. I have wonderful souvenirs from Russia, carved boxes that are just beautiful. Some of our clients have bought malachite jewelry. Yesterday I was wearing a malachite necklace my husband bought me. There are beautiful things to buy. There are also little, ladies and men, craft people all around who they basically only take cash. And so, my advice to you, if you decide to do this, is if you see something you like, buy it, because you're going across all of Asia and through Europe, and the towns change and the crafts change. But basically, you don't need to have any extra money if you don't want it. And no, you do not need to have Russian currency. And let me say, somebody asked, does the Golden Eagle travel at night? The Golden Eagle does travel at night, and most of our passengers really like that. That's one of the reasons they want to do this trip, because it is so long, and some of our other trips are shorter, and you don't have as much time on the train. The train is very relaxing, and I would say that the sleep on board is very comfortable, but it does travel at night. Yeah, and my husband Owen says the track is very good. What do you call that kind of track?
Continuously welded.
Yeah, it's continuously welded track. It's very smooth. It's much smoother than what we have in this country, unfortunately. Any other questions?
She didn't really answer about the credit cards.
Oh, do they take credit cards?
For what? You mean Yes, you can use credit cards in Russia. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, and on the
Or
train.
wherever they're visiting, like if they're, yeah, I know that sometimes the markets, they need to have,
Cash.
cash.
Oh,
But
yes.
like if, they want to purchase something, are they able to use credit cards?
Oh, yes. If they go to a nice store, like, I mean, I went with this one man to a beautiful jewelry store to buy a malachite box. It was $400. It was absolutely gorgeous and a treasure. And of course, he was allowed to use his credit card. So yes, so in the really beautiful stores, yes, you can use your credit card, but not the little old ladies beside the road.
Right.
Okay.
Am I missing anything else? I can't think of anything else about this trip. Anybody else have any other questions? Okay. Well, maybe we should wrap it up. Anybody have any questions?
Eleanor.
Well, you're so welcome. And if you have any questions, you can send them to your advisor. We will send out tour books for anyone who wants them. And we have a supplement inside that has all the dates and pricing for all the world's top 25 trains. There are so many choices. You can see them on our website if you want to. If you Google, our website is irtsociety.com. And if you do contact us, we do want for you to let us know that you came from this webinar so we can give you your prize. Does anybody want to know what your prize is?
I do.
Okay. Well, I don't have pictures here, but you can imagine our team has traveled, I would say, millions of miles around the globe to test out luxury trains. We have fabulous photographs from all over the world, and we have designed very unique postcards of the world's top 25 trains. And we will send these to you. If you book a trip, we will send this to you in an envelope, tied up with a blue bow, and most of our clients absolutely think they're fabulous. Now, if you don't like the idea of postcards, we also have those postcards made into posters, which we would be happy to send you one of those. And the postcards we have for the Trans-Siberian, one of them is a big locomotive. We have different ones, but anyway, we will send one of those to you at your request. But I personally love the postcards because most people don't have room for the posters on their walls. But they are very unique, and we have won lots of awards for our postcards and our posters, and they are absolutely gorgeous, I have to say. Our whole office is decorated with them.
Cool. Well, thank you, Eleanor.
So when does the train go?
Oh, Eleanor,
Yes.
my client is asking, when does the train go? I mean, or do you have certain departures?
Oh, yes. I'll look that up. Hold on just a minute. I got to look that up. Trans-Siberian. Okay. It'll just take me a sec. All right. This particular trip, which is Vladivostok, it's sort of hard to say Vladivostok, isn't it? Anyway, Vladivostok.
You said it very well, like several times. I'm impressed.
Well, I've been saying it for 36 years, so I better be able to say it. Okay, so the dates are on our website and in our supplement that we would send with our tour book. But just to let you know, the westbound Vladivostok to Moscow trips, we have one in May, one in June, one in August, and one in September in 2020. And then we have provisional dates for 2021 on our website. Then just to emphasize, the train also goes eastbound, and we have a departure early May, late May, July, August 2020, and then we have some provisional dates, May, July, and August for the eastbound journey. So you can see all of those on our website. I won't go into all those right now, but really either direction basically does the same thing. And just to let you know that if you did want to go to St. Petersburg, if you've never been there before, we highly recommend St. Petersburg. So you could ask your advisor to cook up an extension for you. So you could fly to St. Petersburg, travel by first class train from either, it depends on which direction you're doing, but let's just say if you fly to St. Petersburg to start the trip, you take the train from St. Petersburg to Moscow, and you would see Catherine's Palace, the Hermitage, and more. And then you would join up with the trip that's going eastbound. And we do the reverse, the other direction. You would arrive in Moscow, be there. Some people want to stay longer. But your advisor can cook up a very wonderful customized trip just for you. But there is the first class train. You can arrange great transfers. We arrange all the transfers, by the way, I want to emphasize, are included. So you are never, looking around for a taxi. So that is not part of what we do at our company at all. So anyway, I think that you would love this if you're an adventurous person, if you're wanting something with really great service, very unusual. You could definitely not do this on your own. What other reasons should somebody take this Trans-Siberian trip? Because it's a trip of a lifetime. And if that appeals to you, then I would say get your advisor to give us a holler.
Perfect. Thank you, Eleanor. This was wonderful. I appreciate you spending time with us.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Very well presented.
Well, bye-bye.
Bye, Eleanor.